Hi, this is Gary Auden, and I'm bringing you an EDUcast. The title is WebRTC Combating Implementation Challenges, and we're talking about trying to get communications everywhere, interacting everywhere. With me today is Sherwin Sim, Chief Technology Officer of Temasys Communications. Well, welcome, Sherwin.
Hello, how's it going?
We're doing fine, and we're going to move on to some very interesting stuff here. But let's talk about what we're going to talk about first. What's our agenda here today? Where are we with WebRTC? Because it's been around a while. But there are challenges when you go to implement it. And then how do you budget for this implementation? Because it's a relatively new thing for most people. One of the questions, though, we're going to have to deal with is, should you do this all yourself, or should you use it with a tool set? You spend money on the tool set, but on the other hand, you come to market much faster, and you have far fewer problems and even reduced staff. We'll discuss a few use cases, then finally we'll move into something that's very important, how you might use a platform as a service for implementation. So Sherwin, let's start off with the first question. What's our status now with WebRTC?
Hello. First off, thanks for having me here, Gary. It's always a pleasure for us to be here, and I just want to point out that we have a lot of fun doing these things. Without further ado, let's get right into it. So WebRTC is basically a fairly mature standard, even though WebRTC 1.0 is not officially released. The APIs are very close to being finalized as we've addressed some of the last remaining issues, ranging from bandwidth preferences, fingerprint checking, to better information about ICE failures. I wouldn't be surprised if the near future we see 1.0 finally get out the door. At the same time, we also have ORTC coming along, which of course is referencing and following WebRTC 1.0 since it's backwards compatible. For those who don't know, ORTC, which stands for Object RTC, is another real-time communication standard that allows developers to have a deeper level of access to certain objects and APIs than WebRTC would. For the most part, both groups share the same committee members, and we're all striving to make something work for all browsers and developers, no matter which API they end up using.
Now I see on this chart here we've also got mobile support and desktop support. This is meant to be highly generic, right?
Yes. So what some of the people have done on the standards bodies is they've created some generic packages for mobile and desktop. That doesn't mean that they're readily available and globally available. There's still quite a ways of a little bit of work that needs to be done to get those into actual mature SDKs.
But we've get to the word adoption, which I think is real important. And would you tell us about the status of the adoption now?
Yes. So now that we know a little bit about WebRTC 1.0 standards and how it's almost completed, that doesn't really hold much unless it's actually adopted in the real world. I think it's safe to say that WebRTC has been available and globally deployable around the world. Almost all major browsers support it or seem like they're heading towards supporting it, or there exist plugins that do help them support it like we do at Temasys. And if you look really closely, we see plenty of released WebRTC applications available, such as the obvious Google Hangouts, Citrix GoToMeeting, Facebook Messenger, and Skype for Business or web using ORTC. We've come a long way, and without a doubt, applications are being built on top of WebRTC, and they're being deployed worldwide.
But I would think we have a number of challenges that developers have to overcome to make this work.
Yeah, so with WebRTC, what you really have is a stack that allows you to get one browser to exchange capabilities with another. This allows audio, video, and data communications to flow between the two browsers. However, that's just it. WebRTC inside the browser is just a stack. When you get right into it, there's plenty of work that needs to be done to deliver a capable WebRTC-based service. So what do you need to do? You need a signaling protocol and server. You need to handle browsers and compatibilities. You need a strategy to handle non-WebRTC conforming browsers. You need to figure out how to support WebRTC NAT traversal strategies. You might need to consider mobile, desktop, or embedded development if these things are somewhere on your roadmap. And you need to consider how to deploy WebRTC as a global cloud service with redundancy, scalability, and reachability in mind.
One of the things that gets to be of interest to most of the developers is, how do I budget for this? What kind of staffing or what kind of organization do I need to build to make this work?
Yeah, so with those challenges in mind, it now comes down to what's needed to build those pieces and as well as how to support it. Without a doubt, it helps if you have a subject matter expert, and not just in web development and cloud services, but especially in real-time communications. Most likely, you'll have to build two teams, a software development team that will do the usual software development process to deliver real-time applications and services, and you'll need an operations team to run, maintain, and support that cloud service.
So let's assume you've done all of this. There are two ways of going after this. You could do everything yourself, or you could do it with tools. Would you contrast both of those for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I described above with those two teams was really the do-it-yourself approach. You need investments in building out the WebRTC software team, and investments in building out a WebRTC operations team. But there also exist other costs than to just having those teams, like infrastructure and hosting services, or building out your own data center. And of course, the support system that goes along with these things. Of course, the alternative to this is using tools, and in this case, an existing WebRTC platform that does the majority of the lifting for you. And platforms typically include APIs and SDKs that make your life easier. They're cloud-based hosting, and they have proper service and support teams.
But you know, everything that has benefits has risks. Would you talk about those for both of those for us?
Yeah, I think the biggest benefit from the highest level, in my opinion, is about focus. Using tools that are proven and mature allows you to focus on functionality and features that you are looking to deliver to your customers instead of being experts in voice, video, and data services. You really spend more time fine-tuning your application. This allows faster time to market, lower total cost of ownership, and taking advantage of readily available cloud services. Of course, there are some risks associated with this, as there are whenever you do use a third-party software. You basically have to be comfortable with the functionality that's available to you and working with the partner to make sure the roadmaps are aligned, the tools are properly supported, and that both companies' business models make sense in terms of working with each other.
I've talked about WebRTC with others, and one of the things they talk about is the word workflow. And one of the things that I see as a complaint of the old way of doing things is the workflow is kind of awkward and multiple stage, as where with WebRTC it seems to be embedded. Is that correct?
Yes. So if you're thinking about WebRTC being added to your application, you've probably, as you said, come across or thought about workflow. These days you hear about contextual workflow. And so just looking at the diagram to the left, a lot of the times you interact with someone, you end up using one application to accomplish something, then you jump on something like Skype, then you need to try to share something, so you email them, but the attachment's too big, so you use Dropbox. You want to ask them a question about the document or whatever you're trying to send, so you get on a web collab to co-view the document. You want to message them quickly, so you ask for their preferred chat or IM handle. It just seems broken. The flow seems like you're messing around with every application you can find, and at the same time you're hoping the other end is comfortable with those exact same applications. I think what WebRTC allows us to do is integrate some of those scattered pieces of functionality in one flowing environment. So from our perspective, we're seeing a lot of people build really cool contextual applications in a seamless workflow.
One of the problems I think with WebRTC is people have trouble imagining how to actually apply it. And I think you have a good use case here in telehealth that you might want to go through.
Yeah, a simple use case that I think some of us, or most of us can relate to is telehealth. Your doctor is located on one side of the country for whatever reason, and using a WebRTC enabled application, you can video call them. He can share back data such as patient history. You can share back data such as vital signs. And he can decide to turn the conversation into a multi-way call to involve a specialist. Data is shared between everyone, and the aim is that we spend less time trying to book times with multiple doctors and sending multiple pieces of information or test results all around the country.
It would seem that this also improves the efficiency and allows the doctors to do more work in a shorter period of time.
Absolutely, absolutely. Totally agree with that.
Now let's apply this to a different kind of case, and that's e-learning, which also gets into geographically dispersed people working together.
Yeah, so e-learning is a very popular adopter of WebRTC. In this example, a professor can create a virtual WebRTC session with students in multiple locations in the world. In the virtual session, he or she can allow a student to present to the class. Other students can virtually raise their hand to ask questions. They can be given the ability to present. They can share their screen while doing so. And the professor can grade and assess the presentations and provide feedback. So in this example, we're able to see small groups come together, present information, and really promote learning despite being globally dispersed.
I would think, though, that the same kind of interaction you're talking about could be very beneficial in financial planning, financial operations.
Yes. So my last example is another simple use case. A couple is thinking of making an investment or purchasing some real estate. They use a finance web application to call a financial planner who is actually on the other side of the country. They go through financial options, make applications and approvals as if they were at the financial advisor's desk in a bank, and they send signed documents back and forth. Somewhere along the lines, they may include a subject matter expert, like a real estate agent, into their conversation. What's really cool here is, in my opinion, the decision-making process gets accelerated.
It also seems it breaks down the barriers. Usually people work with facilities or people that are local. This says you can go national.
Yes, absolutely.
I noticed the next word is a paradigm there, and one of the questions I have here is, are we really talking about interactions embedded within applications rather than separate?
Yeah, so if you notice in examples above, there is a bit of common thread, and that's that WebRTC is really about changing the engagement paradigm. You see reduction in travel, you see instantaneous connectivity, you reduce appointment bookings, you bring people together, but you also reduce the multiple tools, documents, or whatever you need to do to make a decision. Because you're not jumping around with multiple methods of communications and multiple tools, you get a less fragmented environment. More or less, you end up flipping everything over, so it's one environment that everyone can access. And you can increase productivity by making better informed decisions at real time.
Let's go on a little more about the whole implementation area. Why would a platform of a service, something like Skylink, be valuable to the implementers?
So Temasys provides a platform as a service solution to companies, developers, and service providers. Of the technology stack, we basically do everything you possibly need for real-time communications, leaving you to get access to that from your software over APIs and SDKs. You do not have to worry about scale, hosting, infrastructure, servers, and support, and really are given access to elements that allow you to truly customize your user's UI or UX experience. We're built completely on reliable, scalable, and globally reachable cloud services. And what we do is we truly specialize in making it easy for applications or solutions to add voice, video, or data.
Your company is Temasys, but most of us don't know who you are.
Yeah, so a little bit of background. Temasys started pretty early and got involved into WebRTC in the early years. We have been active members in the W3C, in the IETF over the last 3 years. We've launched the Temasys plugin in 2014, which delivered WebRTC for non-WebRTC enabled browsers such as Internet Explorer and Safari. And in 2014, we launched our WebRTC platform as a service, branded Skylink. To date, we have over 2,000 customers, developers, and partners registered with the platform, and we do several million minutes of voice, video, and data a month.
One of the things that I would want as a developer is options, not just simply one package way of doing it. You have 3 forms of options.
Yes, so our platform comes in a variety of different deployment methods. We have our public cloud, which is publicly available. Anyone can sign up and start building or using it for free, and it automatically scales based on demand. We also have our managed private cloud solution, which includes all the functionality of our public cloud. This allows customers to have an isolated cloud environment based on their needs. And on our roadmap, we have a complete private cloud solution, so something we'll be providing to select customers and partners. And this is really for customers who are truly looking for a complete, secure, enclosed environment that works in their existing private cloud.
Now, this is all part of the Skylink platform. Would you go through some of the elements for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So Skylink has a large amount of features and services. In terms of access levels, we have plenty of SDKs, so web, iOS, Android, embedded. And we also have server APIs to help manipulate features and functionality. In terms of the on-demand services, we have signaling, turn, MCUs, SFUs, recording, analytics, and reports. So lots of functionality and lots of features packed in. And it's all ready for people building WebRTC-enabled applications.
If I'm a developer, I'm going to have to go to somebody to get approval to do a project with this. Would you tell me why your approach is valuable to me?
So ultimately, we help you focus on creating a better customer experience. We allow real-time interactions to be embedded into your interaction model and allow you to have a lower total cost of ownership to do so. We really allow our customers to focus on their intellectual property and specializations while we focus on ours, which is providing the best and easiest WebRTC platform available.
That gets into the last question, which is also part of my justification as an implementer, defining the benefits of your platform.
Yes, and this really leads to a large number of benefits. You don't have to worry about scaling to the cloud for real-time communications, which really can be an art. You don't have to worry about handling multiple browsers or devices. I mean, our APIs and SDKs will do that for you. And security is completely inherent and embedded into our platform. You end up with a partner that really understands real-time communications and is solely focused on delivering at a stable, cost-effective manner while also being a turnkey environment. Again, our goal is to make not only our customers' lives easier, but really allowing them to focus on their customers.
One of the benefits of this particular presentation is that people can actually contact Erwin rather than some third party for questions and answers here. Also, Chip Wilcox, who's the COO, is also available. Well, thank you very much, Sherwin, and I appreciate your time today.
No problem. Thanks, Gary. Thanks for having us.